So in this video, what I'm going to show you is how to take some resources from the Personalized Learning website and pull that into your Google Drive folder if you choose to do so. So before we get to the website part, I need to make sure that I address this really important thing. So I'm back here in the Keystone Personalized Learning folder. So that same link that I mentioned before from the website that takes you to this folder will bring you here. Well, there's this little drop down arrow next to Keystone Personalized Learning, and it's really important that you actually click on this little drop down arrow, and when you do, you're going to see the options for that folder. You don't see it here because I already have the folder in my drive. It's a part of my drive. But if you are visiting this folder for the first time, you are going to want to see the option that is available to you that says add to my drive. It's going to be listed here, but like I said, you don't see it here for me. But you will see an icon. It'll be the Google Drive logo here with a little plus sign that says add to my drive. And what that's essentially going to do is then if you click on your drive, you should see, if you go to your folders, you should see Keystone Personalized Learning folder. That's the way you can kind of check for it. If you really think this folder is important, that you're going to be frequently visiting it, you can go ahead and right click on it, or go up to the three, once you have it selected, go up to the three dots, and you can go ahead and add a star. And once you add that star, I can go over here to starred, and I'm going to see all my items that my important things that I want to continually visit, and there's Keystone Personalized Learning. So now I'm going to jump over to the website, and one thing I didn't show you in the previous video is how to get back to that website through our Plaza. So once I'm logged into the Plaza, the very first link, Agency Resources, you click on that, and at the very top section is going to be the frequently used links or headers, and you'll notice Personalized Learning right there, and it's the only link once you do the drop down. Once I click there, I am now back at the familiar website that I was at before when I was describing how to get to the Google folder. And so once I get here, what I need to do is, or what I could do potentially, is pull the coaching guide questions and checklists into my Google folder. So here's how I can do that. So let's say I go up to the journey and it describes the different phases, and what I want to do is I want to go to the research phase because that's where I am right now with my personal journey. So when I click on the research phase, once again I get that description, what it's all about, some big ideas. You also have the video that we watched during our first collaboration day. But over here in the linked resources, once I click on the coaching guide questions, because let's say I'm getting to that part in my research phase where I feel like I'm pretty close to done, or I might be ready to transition into the integration phase and I want to have that coaching conversation. If I click on this, what it's going to do is it's going to bring me to a force make a copy of that document. So I have to make a copy of the original document so that way nobody's making changes to the original. So when I click on make a copy, what it'll do is now pull me into my AEA Google Drive, because that is what I'm currently logged into as, is my AEA account. And when I'm logged in there, what this has done is it has made a copy of the research phase coaching guide questions, and it has put it into my drive. So it's just kind of floating in the mass warehouse storage unit in a random fashion. It's not in my Personalized Learning folder. So the really easy way to do that, and this is why we did that first step of adding the Personalized Learning folder to your drive. If I go up here to the folder icon that's right next to the title of this document, when I do that, it's going to first pull me up to my drive. Well, if you didn't add the Personalized Learning folder to your drive, you're not going to see it here. So that's why that first step at the beginning of this section of the video was very important. So if I scroll down now to Keystone Personalized Learning, if I click on that and I click on the arrow, I need to then find my folder, and then I have my first journey, and I have the research phase, and that's where I am right now. So I'm going to the research phase, click that arrow, and this is where I want to go ahead and move this document to. And it says go ahead, and it makes it shareable for everybody. That's okay, because I want to make sure that what I have is easily shareable and can communicate and collaborate with everyone. So now it should be in that Personalized Learning folder. So let's double check real quick. If I go back to the Personalized Learning folder here, I click on my name, I click on Journey 1, I click on Research Phase, and there's the coaching, the copy of the research phase and the coaching guide questions right there in that folder. Now, why might this be important? Well, if I want to reference quickly back to those very easily in terms of try to check for my own self-understanding, I could certainly do that. If I'm the type of person who, I'm going to go back to the document itself, if I'm the type of person that wants to kind of type out my answers first just to get the pre-thinking in before I actually go and have that conversation with my coach, that is totally your call too. However you want to use these coaching guide conversations is completely up to you and your coach, but at least we have a guide for what kind of thinking do I want to make sure I can clearly articulate before going into that next phase in order to ensure that I am ready for that next phase. Because if I'm not and I jump into that next phase, what ultimately could happen is that I could have things backfire in my face and I feel uncomfortable with that and I want to quickly abandon it altogether, or I might end up back in the research phase in order to try to figure this out a little bit more. Like, what am I missing? There's something else I'm not getting here. I need to do a little more research in order to make sure that I can get that integration phase a little more successful. So those coaching guide questions are available to you. You also have the checklist there, which are purely for your reference alone if you're a checklist kind of person. But that is essentially how you take resources from the personalized learning website and pull them into your Google folder.